Do we finally find out who D.B. Cooper was? According to this article, it's very possible that we do based on one specific clue. So, hello friends, welcome back. It's just some guy. And today's article really caught my eye. I always love playing in the world of conspiracy theories. And so a lot of it I don't necessarily believe, but I've always been a fan of the what if. Like, what if this did happen? What if this is real? And just based on that, it can make a lot of these stories fun, especially if you're talking with other people, especially if you're at a boring party. A topic like this could definitely liven it, or it can make people look at you like you're nuts. But either way, you're having fun. That's the most important thing. So in this article, a staggering new clue on D.B. Cooper's tie has blown the 52-year-old case wide open. So, just to sum up, if you don't know the story of D.B. Cooper, there's plenty of videos on YouTube, but if not, I'll just read this. You wouldn't jump out of an airplane wearing a tie, so naturally, the most famous skyjacker to never be found, the dapper D.B. Cooper, took his tie off on Thanksgiving Eve 1971, just before dropping out of a Northwest Orient Airlines plane somewhere south of Seattle. So what happened was that D.B. Cooper, went in on a plane. Look at this picture. It looks like something out of a James Bond film. Really cool. It looks like a mix between James Bond and a Blues Brother, right? So this gentleman goes on a flight. Back then, you didn't necessarily need to give a name. You know, things weren't as strict as they currently are. So bought his ticket. I think it was under $20, which is pretty amazing. And went on the flight, ordered a drink or two. Then he hands the waitress napkins, asking for money, saying this is a stick-up. To kind of fast forward a little bit, gets the money after they refuel, I believe, and because they landed first, obviously to get the money. Once the money was brought on and most of the passengers left, they go back up in the air. He jumps out with a parachute, something, again, like out of a James Bond film. And was never heard from again. Most people thought that he did not survive that jump, but there's a lot of clues that he possibly could have. And there's been a lot of people who have been, thought of to be potentially D.B. Cooper, but there's never been any solid evidence to prove that. Again, my description probably left out a lot of extra steps or little details of the story, so please go on YouTube, plenty of D.B. Cooper material. But what's interesting about this one, again, goes back to the tie. So there is a gentleman, I'm scanning through, this is a pretty long article from Popular Mechanics. Let's see. So this gentleman named Ulis, and I apologize if I'm messing it up, mentioned that a smudge that was on the tie had traces of various particle fragments that were known to be produced at Crucible Steel of Pennsylvania. Now this, again, it was headquartered in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, a significant subcontractor all throughout the 60s. It supplied the lion's share of titanium, and stainless steel for Boeing's aircraft, Ulis said, of the metal fabric particle. So now they're saying, based on this particle, there's a chance that we can identify or at least narrow down those who we thought could possibly fit the moniker of a D.B. Cooper, have the ability to jump out of a plane, and would have the motive to steal money. I think they do mention in this article, because I read a couple of them online, that, yeah, I believe this is it. This is also the time, 1971, when Boeing had this significant downturn. So it's reasonable to deduce that D.B. Cooper may well have been part of that downturn. Now that would make sense, especially if you're a highly trained person, it's specialized work, and then you find that you're possibly out of a job. What do? I would say most people would just keep brushing up their resume and sending it out, but obviously not this guy. This guy said, you know what, chips are down. I'm just going to do this. Something crazy, something that I think a lot of people daydream about, but never really obviously do, because if a lot of people did it, we would have some real serious problems in society, but also this story wouldn't have had such longevity. And you know what? Tell me what you think about this in the comments down below, but this is my take on it. I think it's better not to necessarily find out who D.B. Cooper was. I know that everyone's a sleuth and they're trying to find it out, and it would be great to know, because, you know, anytime there's a mystery, it is nice to put a nice little ending on it to tie that bow, make it really neat. But then you lose that story. This is a great story. This is a guy that came in, had a couple of cocktails, looks like he's out of a James Bond film, and parachutes out with 6 figures to be lost and never heard from again. We can let our imaginations run wild. This guy might have actually, you know, he might have died with the jump. And if he died, you know, it's amazing because there's no body found, no money found. But let's say he did survive. Started his new life, had a family. Maybe he became famous and we don't know. Maybe had plastic surgery and he's somebody that we would know as a celebrity. We don't know. But the fun is us thinking about it and making up our own tales and our own deductions as to what he became. If you find out he was just some guy at a plant and, you know, he died on impact, or he possibly survived, or they don't know what happened to the guy. When you have a name to something, it loses all of those what-if factors, like I mentioned before. That what-if is so entertaining. I mean, that's why, you know, on Netflix, Marvel, that what-if, you know, people like that stuff. People like, what if Captain America was president? Or what if Red Skull took over the planet? We like to think, even if it's something tragic, we like to think of things in extremes. So, you know, I think personally I would rather not know who D.B. Cooper is because the story stays alive, because there's always that potential that if we do solve it, the story will just die down. It might be an interesting footnote, but it's not going to be something that that we remember, whereas if we never find out who D.B. Cooper is, this story will live on well past us. So tell me what you think. Put your ideas, your thoughts. Do you want to know who D.B. Cooper is? Do you take my stance where it's probably better not to know so that we can keep talking about this? Tell me what you think about it. Please put your comments down below. Please like and subscribe. And smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, smash anything that will get this video out there so I can get some more subscribers. I appreciate you, friends, and have a good night.